24th episode of Born in Trouble. Let me try that again. Welcome to what I believe is the 24th episode of Born in Trouble. I'm your host, John X. What's going on? How's everybody doing tonight? How y'all feeling? What's the deal?
Giants. It's a great day, bro.
Rob, you starting already, man. You just got on the show, bro.
Hey, man, let's just get the elephant in the room out the room.
That's not an elephant, bro. That's a look. The Giants took a bad one. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, right in the
Right,
face.
they can do.
Yeah, they took it right in the face. And
Right,
on
so-
top of taking the L, they're paying Daniel Jones $40 million.
Reg,
to
you're
add
in,
any-
Reg, you're in Ohio. You want to get on New York Giants passion real quick?
I just wonder, can we get them and the Bears off of TV? That's it, man.
You're tired of seeing bad football?
I mean, let my Commanders get some of this love. I mean, if we gonna show bad teams,
Well, I mean, Commanders.
The Commanders ain't bad though.
We'll see next week if they lose to the Giants.
if they,
Giants-
lose to the Giants, I'm gonna cause a disturbance somewhere.
Giants fans are all in on the tank right now. But yeah, let me introduce y'all first. From Cleveland or somewhere in Ohio. Wait, what did LeBron say? I'm not from Cleveland. I'm from where? Akron.
Akron.
Next
But I'm
Ohio.
from the city. I'm from the city of fun, Dayton, Ohio.
That's right.
Dayton, Ohio.
You could just say Ohio.
Ohio players.
Yeah,
Ohio players.
Best album
Boosie
covers ever.
Collins. Yeah. Ain't Boosie from Dayton too?
I thought he was
I
Cincinnati.
think he's Cincinnati.
I think
Okay,
he's
Cincinnati. Okay.
Either way, Mr. Reggie Wood.
What's going on, fellas? Great to be back.
Great to be back.
Waiting
From
on me.
Philadelphia.
You look tentative, John. Why?
Well, I'm trying to figure. Listen, I'm in like temporary surroundings, temporary new surroundings. I'm just set up really quick so we can do the show because this is what we do, and I'm just trying to find my footing here. So that's all it is. So, Mr. Brooks with the good looks from New Jersey, Robert Brooks.
The armpit of America.
Thank you for
So
asking.
somehow I
Oh,
settled
wow.
here.
Wow.
Sure how it
Wow.
happened, but it happened.
The armpit of America, New Jersey. Represent Mr. Robert Brooks. And of course, from Detroit, Michigan, the city wang king, Mr. Grant Lancaster.
What up, dog? How you feeling, Bridget?
Feeling
Good,
good,
man.
feeling good.
You know, we're approaching the holidays. It's, everybody's got a Black Friday sale starting this Wednesday. So,
Right.
commerce is in full effect. They started to get you start with
Yeah.
$6 early this year.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Any money-
America.
All money down is a bet, nigga.
Thank you,
Taking all
America.
that.
Listen, commerce, it is the American way. Everything is based upon the dollar, right? Everything that we talk
Mhm.
about is all wrapped up in the dollar bill, yo. So it is what it is.
Yeah. Even somehow getting fired is even worth $76 million.
How's that?
Texas Tech. And
A&M.
Texas Tech. A&M firing their coach and they got to pay this joker $76 million
$76 million.
in order to fire him.
Damn.
Contract's a beautiful thing, man. Beautiful thing.
Until you're a player.
Well, even if you're if you're a baseball player, you sign on the dotted line. All that money is yours. All the
True.
ones who don't like their
True, true.
contracts, the NFL guys, because the NFL don't
Right.
care. They'll rip them up a heartbeat.
Right.
Let me tell you something. If we doubt that there's a Jesus, become a football coach. For real.
Yeah.
Because this cat is getting paid. Or be a mediocre NFL quarterback and get injured. You get $80 million
There you go.
automatically. Congratulations, Daniel Jones. You have reached the mountaintop.
How if you what's the Moore isn't that the family name, the Moore family that own the Giants?
Yeah.
Are you kicking yourself yet? In private, are you saying, damn, we should have just paid Saquon? We could have got away with paying Saquon 15, and we done fucked around and paid this joker 40.
Yep. Yep. You know what the worst part about that is? They could have, he was still on his rookie contract. They could have extended him the year before, and it would have been less of a hit. And he would have hit free agency right now.
Mhm.
So, they fucked that one up big time. Big time.
Yeah, but that's the NFL is gonna have to do something about this pay structure the way it's going. They because the product is suffering more than anything because you're not paying the running backs, you're paying the quarterbacks too much, so it's difficult for a team to win. You can't really develop a quarterback because they have to be out there within that 5-year window. They have to get out there immediately and start playing. So hopefully they can get to a Super Bowl. They're gonna have to do something with this pay structure.
Well, there's no loyalty with teams, and they're building teams like rotisserie leagues.
Right.
You know,
They act like they're playing fantasy.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why there's no continuity. What's the average NFL career, Rob? 2 years or 3 years?
3 years.
How many?
3 years.
3 years. I mean, most of the times teams were like, I remember the Giants used to keep backers around a year, that were reasonable. Byron Hunt, lots of guys, they just keep them on the roster that long. Now that's their entire career. It's crazy.
Speaking of giant linebackers, how about Alex Pierce?
Antonio Pierce. Yes.
Damn, well, messing everybody's name up today. Yeah, well, he know who he is.
You know who he is. Shout out to Antonio. So, fellas, is there anything else you want to talk about this afternoon? Anything that's on your mind, something that's bothering you? Has this world got you down? And do you need this show and this conversation to get you up? We are here. By the way, brothers, I just wanted to commend y'all. Last week, the show was so good. I kept trying to get a clip. I usually put a clip out to advertise what we're saying, but I have to say, honestly, the whole show was really good from the beginning to the end. So, kudos to you guys. Sure. It's a little bit sexist, a little bit raunchy, but that's what makes life good.
That sounds like great content.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was really great. I couldn't figure it out. So it's like I just left it alone. So picking up along those lines, Rob and I had a conversation today about some stuff that was going on in the world. Rob, you want to tell them, about your conversation at the barbershop? What happened with the brother you were talking to?
It was good conversation. It was a moment brother hung out, knew I was coming in, and he hung out to talk to me. And he wanted to talk about the concept of forgiveness. He going through it with his baby mom. Like, he got a 12-year-old son. She is doing everything she can to create a wedge between him and his child. She's coming out. She's openly provoking him, trying to get him to react. And, he's frustrated, but he's like, he's meditating on the concept of forgiveness. So we had like a long conversation about how you move on and how you keep contact with stuff like that. And I thought it was like a great moment in that, we wound up talking about we wound up getting way off topic and talked about a whole bunch of things that, brothers don't normally talk about. Okay. And it was just a great forum to discuss some of these things and also help him, get lawyered up so he can go and fight this evil witch.
Right.
He got a fight on his hands. I was like, I know some people who've been through this fight. I was in it at a lesser level than he is, but I know some people who was in it full. He got, people chasing him down for back child support. He's paid forward child support. She's still trying to chase him down because she want more. Judge had to slap her down. He went into court, and she had hired a PI to investigate him, and then went and filed for more child support. So in court, he's like, "Well, how much did that cost? Like, you want more child support? What did that cost?" And she's like,
Right.
"That's irrelevant." And even the judge was like, "No, actually, that's quite relevant." And she's like,
Wow.
I don't remember. I don't really remember how much that cost.
Mhm.
Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah. But I thought it was just a good moment. It's good to see brothers opening up and discussing the things that really matter and wait until they explode.
Well, that
It's
brings,
all over.
we were having that conversation that brought me back to my younger years, some of my fights that I had with the courts and with the ex and trying to stay calm. And, now I'm older, but even back then I was like extremely zen about it in a lot of ways, because there really isn't much you can do in those situations. If you jump back, if you talk back and everything, if you don't say anything, you're a punk, supposedly, quote unquote punk. But if you talk back, then you're basically doing exactly what they want you to do.
Exactly. If you put her in her place like you should, that the way that's going to get reported in court is going to be way different than what you actually said. And she's going to leave some of the run up to the conversation out of it, and therefore you're just going to be wearing it in court. Like, that was my big thing.
Absolutely.
Like, my ex mother-in-law, she was, she wouldn't lift a finger to help herself, but in court she'd have been like, "Oh shit!" She'd have been shooking the judge and everything. They'd have been like, "This monster right here, this black monster right here." She's making this cry. I was literally scared of that, because I knew, I've seen her sister do the bullshit. I've seen her mother do the bullshit too. But they'd all been sitting there, crocodile tears have been flowing. I was definitely afraid of that.
Now, does she have a boyfriend? The ex, did he tell you?
She's had a couple. Oh, his?
Yeah,
His dude?
yeah.
No. She didn't have a boyfriend, but she's just like, she gives her kid a burner phone when she goes to her dad's house. When he goes to his dad's house.
What's the purpose of that?
Not sure. I think he thinks that she's got a listening device or something installed on the kid's phone, because she is coming to court with some stuff that the only way she would know that is if she was either listening on the conversations or reading the kid's texts.
Man.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Red, you ever date anyone like that? Go through those issues?
Man, I kind of got to recuse myself from the conversation, man. I'm the only brother on here with no kids. And then I've been married for 20 years, so I ain't got no drama to risk.
None of the problems.
What was that character in Undercover Brother? Smart Brother.
Yeah.
Smart brother.
Yeah, man.
Because your relationship could be lovely for a long time, as long as you don't got no damn kids into it.
Yeah, so I don't even want to fame any kind of.
Well, you know what? Maybe we could take this in a different direction, though, because, like, what's it like living in heaven?
Right. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Tell us about Utopia.
Tell us about Utopia. Is it true? Do they serve ambrosia all day? Are there fried chicken buckets that just come flying through your living room when you're watching television? What? How great is that?
If I share too much with you good brothers, then they will revoke my
Yeah.
It's like Wakanda.
Right.
Now I would imagine, man.
It's like Wakanda.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, man. I don't have nothing, man. I listen to some of these stories, the dating stuff. Y'all might have heard about this. Whatever happened, however, the Cheesecake Factory became a big topic in the last week and a half. I'm at a loss for all of this stuff, man.
Well, that's just that social media driving the conversation. Like, There's see now this gonna come off bad, but the truth is what it is. Truth ain't always pretty. You got all these women out here thinking that they deserve a dude. They think they deserve trips and they deserve bags and their feet should never touch the floor again. And like, what are you actually bringing to the table? You got nothing. What are you bringing to the table? Like, why do you deserve this? You can't tell a woman that she don't deserve it. You can't tell a 5 that she a 5.
Mhm.
You know, women sit there and talk to each other, and to them, they're all 8 to 10. You know,
Yeah.
and they all think that they deserve a 10 as a man.
Mhm.
So like Cheesecake Factory is bad. If that's where dude can go, if you want to go someplace better.
Yo, I've actually told beautiful women, yo, you're beautiful. I like you. You cool with everything, but I'm not going through all that trouble to get with you. There's somebody out there that'll like do that for you. So God bless and good night.
I was on the apps for a little while, and you meet these women. They ain't afraid. There's a bunch of them that's just on there for meals. There's a bunch of them that really have no intention of really trying to build a relationship. They just there to get dinner a couple times a week.
Mm,
They're there to do lots of first and maybe second dates, but that's about it.
like a good puppy.
But that's if you're a woman, though, in my viewpoint of this thing, it's too many women that think they Suge Avery when you're really silly,
Mhm.
right? And that's really what the problem is. You know what I mean? But people are typically not honest with women because everybody want to fuck them,
Mhm.
right? So people just don't be honest with them. But the way I look at it, like, so in my as I've gotten older, I've become unafraid to lose, right? And that being unafraid to lose just allows me to do whatever I want to do. Now, of course, that whatever I want to do is not. I mean, like I'm not gorilla pimping out here. I'm not going to choke nobody out, or you know what I mean. Like I ain't never had no woman like really yell at me or like throw nothing at me because I'm just not that type of dude. But I'm also not going to just lay down and let you roll over me. And that's typically what they want. But
Not with your clothes on.
right, not with my clothes on. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, maybe,
Okay.
maybe.
Bro.
It depends. Yeah,
Right.
in the situation that could be invited.
Right. So you're physical, not metaphysical.
Right. Yeah.
Right. I got you. No, I mean it must be difficult, to be out there like Cheesecake Factory. I like Cheesecake Factory,
Everybody likes
It's
Cheesecake
fun.
Factory.
but I'm not
The
taking
menu's too big though. Nobody can do all that stuff perfect.
No, it's
Way too big a
impossible.
menu.
It's impossible. We can
True.
agree upon that. We can have
Yeah.
that cheesecake conversation. That it's impossible for you to go to Cheesecake Factory and get perfect food because one day you might want one of the burgers, the next day you might order one of the pasta dishes. And suppose you're in the mood for Cajun.
Well,
That's
they got
on the
you
menu
covered.
too.
They got
That's on the
that
menu
too.
too.
Yeah. On the menu
So
too.
I'm here to tell you the fish and chips is flame.
Hey, so look. Hey, I
mean, look,
but you know what? Why it wouldn't work for me? The whole conversation doesn't work for me. Even when I was younger, and y'all know me, I used to be like, "Yo, what was the thing we used to say? Conversation is a lost art. Let's find it."
mm-hmm.
That's the first thing. Doesn't matter where we go on the first date. If you really that bomb chick, you're gonna get that value. But what it is they're trying to set a bar. So it's like sort of like somebody you go into a what was that old story about? You get a car, he give you a car, they tell you to take it down to the dealer, he offers you 2,000, you take it down to a pawn shop, he offers you 500, you take it to a car show and they offer him 20,000 or 40,000 because it's a vintage car that people don't get all the time. And it all depends on where you're actually shopping your wares and what you're shopping your goods at. It's the same thing with dating. And when a female who just like has an outer shell of being attractive says that she wants to eat at some place other than the Cheesesteak Factory because she's not quote unquote cheap, I don't think she realizes she understands how much of an oxymoron that is. If your value shows no matter where you are. And if you're
But
just really looking for, well,
Well, your value is not what you believe it is. Your value, honestly, is what I believe it is.
It's what the marketplace will
yeah.
expect for you. Yeah.
I don't care how much I want for my car, right? If my car is worth, 5,000 Kelly Blue Book, even if I want 25 for it, I'm probably not gonna get 25 for it.
mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? And this is the thing with women, like you have to be realistic about what you are. And the other thing to me is that in terms of bringing something to the table, women don't really, in their minds, they don't have to bring anything to the table because they ain't never been in a position to have to win a guy. You know what I'm saying? Guys been hitting on women since they was 8, 9, 10 years old. You've been getting hit on if you're a girl. You see what I'm saying? So that's just natural for you. So you didn't develop any skills to charm me. You didn't develop any skills to woo me, to win my heart with anything except me just falling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I fall just because
that used to be the role of the mama, though. The mama used to teach you, yo, if you're gonna get a man and keep a man, this is what you got to do.
Right.
The
Absolutely.
mama used to show her the way. They have those memes out there that says, back in the day, your grandmother had 8 kids and wore a house coat all around the house all the time because she was 10 times more woman than the women that we get now.
Well, is it true to say that women nowadays, the goal is not to get a man and keep a man, it's to get a man and divorce a man, and then get another man and divorce a man?
I think there are some in that category. I don't think it's everybody, because divorce, even if you in that, divorce tears you up for a little bit. Even when you are clearly in the right, there was no choice. There was no real other avenue but to lift and separate clean from this other human being. Even when you're in that situation, it tears you up a little bit because you start second guessing yourself. How did I allow myself to fall for that type of person? Was it about me that gets me into these situations? So even when you're in the right, like, I don't think there are people who are, but there are definitely people who are way more okay with, if it don't work, I'll divorce them, I'll keep happy.
But being realistic, though, when you first go into a relationship with the thought process that I'll just get divorced, those people don't necessarily know what divorce is. You'd express that it tears you up, having been through separations or a separation in your lifetime. But when you're 24 years old, you don't really know that. So it's like you're just thinking it's going to be just like the way it is on TikTok. So what you're talking about is the real life consequences of the actions, but they're not discussing the consequences. Nobody is going through the emotional toll as an individual. That's like part of the dehumanization of all of us. If we're being honest about it, it's really all of us being dehumanized because our personal feelings don't matter so much in a relationship anymore. What matters about the man, what makes a man a high value man, how much money he has,
and
not how
he's willing to spend on you.
Right, exactly. Or just basically the way it appears. So like say you're a single mom and you marry a quote unquote high value man, and that man gives you a lot of things, but he treats your child like shit. Is that still value? Does everybody still win? At the end of the day, you're not taking into considerations the ones that are with you, because the majority of single women do have a child that they're bringing into a relationship.
And can you, if a man gets with a woman who already has a child and he's unwilling to provide for that child and help nurture that child, can you actually call that guy a high value man?
Right.
It depends on what you value.
Yeah. Like she
valued
his checkbook, and so I guess he's still a high value man, but in reality, he's a couple steps behind.
Doesn't develop the family, doesn't help.
I think it all boils down to what do you really want? You know what I mean? So people think that they want this Instagram life, this out in Dubai, out in wherever, in whatever car, You know what I mean? They think that that's what they want, but they don't realize that Instagram life is just snapshots, man. It ain't the reality. You know, like a relationship ain't just going out to dinner and going to the movies and going to Vegas and you know what I mean? It ain't just that. At some point, you got to talk to this person, and communication is everything. And if you're not happy in who you are already, I don't care what person you find. That person ain't going. It ain't my job to make no woman happy. Just
And
like
you
it's no
can't.
woman's job to make me happy. I have to be happy within myself first, and the woman has to be happy within herself first before she can find somebody that's gonna make her happy. And it once she gets to that level, then it won't matter how much money he has, because she'll already be in a place where she's already happy. It won't be up to his money to bring her happiness.
But that's not the fairy tale that's sold, through American motion pictures, through Hollywood.
Right. Well, yeah, Pretty Woman is like the gold standard for these chicks out here.
Yeah.
They want to be on OnlyFans. Yeah, I'm out here on OnlyFans making money. I'm out here hoeing. Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm doing this, that, and the third. I got 3 babies by 8 different dudes. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then they get to be 29, 30, 35, and now they want to settle down. Well, nah, ain't no value in you to no dude, or to very few. Let me say that.
Very few. Yeah.
Yeah, to very few dudes are they gonna find value in you, because men value women. They value chastity. They value beauty. They value loyalty. Those, to me, those are the 3. Right. Of course. Those are the 4 things that men value.
Well, if I'm being honest, I can only go back to like my own history years and years ago. And I did date like 1 or 2 dancers. I wouldn't say we necessarily dated, though. I never considered it dating. It was what it was. And generally, what I tended to find about them, which is interesting, because Brand, you go through the progression, 29, you feel a certain way when you're 29, then you start to get older and you just want to be loved up. And the consequences of your behaviors and your traces start to become problematic, because it's not a matter of me shaming you or you shaming you or us shaming you. This is the way that the world perceives things. So, because nobody on this panel, the chances that one of us on this panel are going to be the man that you actually are trying to settle down with are pretty slim, but to my point, like the dating, like going back to them, those women were they had been affected so much by the men that they were around at all those times that they would find themselves like tricking off on their men. That's why every joke is every stripper has a terrible boyfriend, someone who's in jail, or that's the strippers on one end and the guy's got a motorcycle. Strippers at a high-end club making like $4,000, and this guy's on a motorcycle coming and picking her up at the end of the night, and they just burn out together. And there's a reason why that happens. It's because they basically pick up the same tactics. Guy comes into a club, pays them money for their time. They go outside of the club, and despite all these people showing them this value with this money, they want to go and they want to show it in a different way by spitting it out. And that's the game. That's the hustle. So that's why even like a lot of strippers make money. You very rarely, well, the ones that make it out, you wouldn't know, because they're not trying at 35 to 40 years old telling you, like, when I was 22, I used to dance at X, Y, and Z. They could be lawyers, they could be doctors, they could be accountants, they could be
There's a handful of them
professionals.
who get in and get out, do it right.
Right, exactly.
There's a bunch of strip clubs near the ballpark down here in Philly. And it just so happens that the 3 biggest ones, those guys all went to school together at one of the most elite private schools in the Philadelphia area, Episcopal Academy. So these guys were all classmates, and one guy his dad had a catering hall that had another building attached to it. They put their first strip club in there, and now they got like 8 of them around and these other guys, like, so one of my buddies went to Episcopal and they played lacrosse together. So we chat with them. Like we used to have our pre-Christmas party. Like so our office Christmas party back in the day would start at 5:30, but they would close the office at 1 so that the ladies could go home and get dressed and get ready for it. So you had from 1 to 5 o'clock to kill. So, we'd go to the naked show. And the boys would set us up. We'd sit there and chat with the guys who owned it. And he's like, dude, 99% of these girls, they come in with the best of intentions and they walk out of here with a drug problem. But a lot of it is in here because they know what they're doing is wrong. And they're ashamed of what they're doing. And so to get through the evening, they need to numb the pain. So there are a lot of them, the fact that they're even showing up at the door means they have issues. They're trying to numb out every day to get through they got another fat, sweaty guy licking on their breast again or squeezing on their ass cheeks. They smell like beer, cigarettes, and construction worker sweat. So, the rabbit hole is right there, 2 steps from the entrance. And you can go down that hole real quick and now you're just lost. And unfortunately, that's how most of them get, unless you stay hyper-focused when you're really about your shit. But a lot of them are just drifting. They're hurt already. They're wounded animals when they walk in the door, with no purpose, no direction. And so it's easy to just go down that thing. But there's an internet psychologist, Sadia Khan. She's not an internet psychologist. She's an actual psychologist. I follow her on Instagram, whatever. And she talked about the fact that women like that, like women want guys with boundaries. They want guys who are going to have a strong hand. And so if you're a rich guy, you come to the club, you pick her up and you start buying her stuff and you try to turn a hoe into a housewife, she ain't never going to respect you because you're trying to buy her and she knows it. And she knows that that she breaks all of your boundaries, but you let it happen because she's beautiful. So that's why they've always got the guy on the motorcycle, the bouncer, the DJ. That's why they always got another dude.
The Reggie Woods, who are completely silent during this topic, you can always tell the man who's been married like 20 years.
Or he could, just because he's been married 20 years, he's just trying not to get caught.
Reggie, where you at, bro?
Man, this guy really sorted quickly.
We go down a rabbit hole in a hurry.
Hey man, you got to give me a heads up, man. You got to bring me in on the rose-colored lenses weeks, man. Like this is real, man. I was born in a lab, man. I'm like Obama or something, man.
See, we like messing with you, bro. Man. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. It can go anywhere. It can go anywhere.
You guys ever see I forget something on the South Side? It's called. It's a movie about Barack and Michelle when they first met in Chicago at the thing. You saw it, Reg?
I know a movie. I haven't watched that one yet, but I know what you're talking about.
I was in a hotel the other night. It was after midnight, waiting for the gummy to kick in, going through the dial, and there was this movie about them, and there's this one very eventful day, and supposedly all the events except one actually took place on that day. Like everything we saw except for this one large event took place on this one day. Supposedly their first date, and it was interesting. It was really interesting because knowing a little bit about them, that brother was mad persistent. Like he ran through a lot of stop signs.
So
you're
saying that today would be a stalker? Possibly.
Not quite a stalker, but right on the edge. Like now he could be perceived problematic because she's one of those black women who is going to attend every argument to which she's invited. There is no perceived slight or injury that she is not going to respond to. If you walk past her and she feels too much air on her shoulder, she's thinking, this motherfucker tried to brush past me and I'm going to show him that you can't brush past me. Yeah. I was watching that. Like, I was like, damn, bro, you must think that booty is smoking because she's giving you a lot of bullshit.
Well, he found him whether he wanted.
You
Yeah,
found the one
that's
that
who he
Oh,
wanted.
yeah. And it worked out for him.
And if she would have said Cheesecake Factory, no good, he would have bought it someplace different.
Well, no, they were both community organizers. He was doing an internship at a law firm. Like, she knew what his financials were. He won. That was before everybody had to be fly.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That was
Yeah,
before
she knew the ramen was coming.
You had to exactly. This is before you had to post everything on the gram the next day. Show your girls that you balling.
Well, I think that the message of the story is really about choices, because that's what we're really talking about tonight is choices that you make. Just because like somebody doesn't have it today doesn't mean they won't have it tomorrow. That's generally how we came up.
That's
Is
the
that
Paulette
you work
Washington
together.
story.
Paulette Washington story.
Paulette Washington, Denzel's wife.
Oh yeah.
The time that they started dating, she was already on Broadway. She was the bigger star, and so she paid for dinner on their first date.
That would never happen today, or would it?
They're well, if you find the right woman, you find the right woman, you have the right conversation. See, that's one of the things. Like, you can evolve into something like that. I don't think on the app you could get there. I just don't think in that binary swipe game mode thing that you can get to where you can touch people's souls and really get in that conversation, because there's another person just waiting. Or like in
But
that
there's
world
no-
where you meet somebody, you start building a conversation, you're finding out about them, where you're getting to see behind the curtain a little bit about them before you get in the dating situation. I think in that, like, hey, look, we've worked together. This is a real cool dude. He's got good conversation. Yeah, he ain't got, but I got a feeling about him. You can do that.
But these social squares, though, that you're referring to, where we get to know people, those social squares, they only really exist
Well, yeah,
on
you
the
can't
internet.
fuck your coworkers anymore. So I guess, how else are you supposed to meet these people? Like, you either got to go to church now, or
I was just getting ready to ask that. Like, I gotta go back to my man and Coming to America with the barber.
Right.
I mean, y'all didn't threw everything out there. It's like, damn, can you even meet a woman at church anymore, or is it some debauchery in there awaiting you as well?
well, I mean, where we grew up, the two strictest religions on the planet, Seventh-day Adventist and the Jehovah's Witness. Like, everybody who was under 18 who had a baby belonged to one of those two sects.
Mm.
Everybody. I used to go. My aunt was Seventh-day Adventist. They in church all day Saturday, but at a certain point, there's lunch, and now the kids are in the basement, and the parents are upstairs, and all the jinx went down in the basement. Like, they were all sexualized by 6th grade, 7th grade. In the basement, everybody's getting pushed into closets to get quick kisses, and so yeah, you find ratchetness in church.
It's everywhere, Doc.
The good thing is that they sober when you meet their ratchet ass, like, unlike at the bar where they smoked and talking shit.
Yeah. I
So-
guess.
So to your point, John, man, what's up with the choices then? Like, is anybody making a choice to, like, get themselves together first to represent half of a couple that can be successful, as they build towards it? Because, things weren't going great for me when I met my wife. I was coming home from the Navy, needed some time to figure out what my next move was, going to school, working part-time. And she did the most until I got on my feet, probably in year 2 or 3. And then, I was able to, then I kind of became the breadwinner. And then we just started piecing it all together. But then even after I got a full-time job with benefits and all of that, I still, maybe 6, 7 years later, I went back and finished my 4-year degree. And then 2 or 3 years after that, knocked out the masters. My wife took care of her stuff. So I guess that's my question. You know, is anybody making a choice to be a part of a team and then y'all go get it as a team?
I think that
I'm like it out here solo.
those people aren't represented on social media because they out there living their lives. They doing their, so it's just, you know, the selected group, you know, we all here, we all looking at this, we're all enamored with this. The people who are doing their thing and they ain't got time to be posting their every move and they live. So that's why my wife is like, like I said, man, I was created in a lab, man. I mean, I was created in the lab too, but it was by Jack Daniels was wearing the lab coat.
So you were distilled it.
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, I mean, you guys have pretty much covered it all. You know, I mean, listen, I'm not in that age group to know exactly. I can only guess upon from what I see. And it seems to me like the opportunities to go out and meet people, have fun, do different things, and like sleep with different people. I think like sometimes like sleeping with different people, hanging out with different groups and things like that, they're not doing that anymore. It's not for free. Everything is transactional. I think that people aren't long-term planning. And it kind of comes down to a lot of the financial problems that we see. These kids today, they don't look at, like I was watching a TikTok the other day where this chick was like, there's no possible way I'm going to go out and buy $1 million home that was worth $200,000 just 4 years ago with these high interest rates and expect to be able to do X, Y, and Z and everything. There's no possible way that's ever going to happen. So I'm renting forever. And when you think about renting forever, you don't think about, this is not the 1940s and 50s where, you know, it's not the honeymooners with Ralph and Ethel or whatever, and where they're living happily in an apartment in Brooklyn. Motherfuckers want space. They want bigger and better things than that.
You know, Ralph was living in a tenement. Now you live in an apartment building owned by a real estate investment group. They need profits every year. So your rent is getting kicked hard. You know, your rent is a source of somebody else's wealth now.
Right.
Like before it was somebody's earnings. Now it's part of somebody's wealth.
I mean, sooner or later it's going to go back to the way it was, where people are coupled up just because of the fact that you can't afford to live by yourself. So now you're going to have people in bad relationships because it's just like, it's shitty to be. It's worse that if you're not in a relationship with the person and you're living with them, it's tough to be a roommate. Because then, like, if you have two people living and they're just roommates, then those two people have people that they date off and on. So that's more people coming in this dynamic of this small apartment because that's all you can fucking afford. It's just like, it's terrible for these kids. I don't know where you would meet. Indeed. So I don't think that people are like really thinking in terms of, I'm going to help this dude out and he's going to take, even if he only makes the equivalent of like $40,000 right now, one day he'll make like, you know, 90 to 130 and be able to take care of me. People aren't thinking in terms of that anymore because that type of progression doesn't exist in the realm of even the workplace for the average person. There's certain people that's still true, but for less and less people, that's the reality. So,
and I would say that's exactly the Woods point though, because it used to be the 85, and you know, y'all know the numbers. It used to be the 85s that were looking to build something with a man that took home that back in the day took home at, you know, learned how to cook in school. You know what I mean? Back when my mom was in school, at a certain point, boys went one way and girls went another. Right? Girls learned how to keep a home and how to sew, how to do, you know, quote unquote woman's work. You know what I mean? The kind of thing that used to be considered woman's work. That's what they learned how to do. While men went out to went to learn how to be out in the marketplace, how to earn money and take care of a family. Right. So that used to be 85%. But now the game is flipped, right? Like women decided that they wanted to be equal to men, which is impossible because the two things can never be equal because we're different. But they've decided that they wanted to be equal to men. So now they've decided that they're not going to do the things to keep a home. They're going to do the things that men do. Right? That they want to be allowed to do the things that men do. So, okay, cool. Well, who's going to keep the home? Right? If men are in the workplace and women are in the workplace, nobody's learning how to keep the home. So how do you keep the home? So to Wood's point, like there is no or the faction of people that want to actually build something with a guy is now the 10%. It's not the 85 anymore. You know what I mean? Where the whole population used to be the 10%. Now the whole population is the 85. And even some of the 10% look like the 85s. You standing too close to them, baby girl. Right? You wearing the same clothes. You doing the same shit on the gram. Right? So even if you do want to be Susie Homemaker, right? Not, you doing too much to mimic these hoes out here. So how am I to be able to, how can I tell the difference? You see what I'm saying, Wood? How can I tell the difference?
I can't even get it out, but
I'm in trouble.
I guess that's why I'm just so confused, man, because me and my wife got serious as social media was coming online. So like my wife doesn't even do anything on social media. And I mean, she's just a very practical person, man. And it's just in being around other females, some of her, cousins and stuff, man, and just sitting back and taking in some of the conversation. I'm like, again, the choices, the committing to anything is strange. But then just 2 quick stories. I'll keep them brief. But my wife's cousin, he may be 2 or 3 years younger than us. And this brother, a couple months ago, he sends me a picture of a sedan that he bought. So he downsized from an SUV and sent me, it was like a Passat. And I know throughout the years that I've been with my wife and knowing him, he's generally had an SUV. Rather than fell on some hard times financially. So, he tells it to me like, and I already know what's going on with him, but I'm like, I don't know why a man is sending another man a picture of a car. I mean, it ain't no Lambo or nothing, but I'm like, I just play it stupid. Like, oh, you right sizing or something, whatever. What you send me this shit for? Last week, I'm sitting here, I made some small conversation about it. Because I'm not even a car dude. One. But anyway, then last week I'm sitting here and I get a text message. This brother sends me a picture of him with a chain on and some medallion or pendant that he's bought. And I'm, fuck am I supposed to do with this? Like, what are you, bro? What is this shit? Oh, I copped a new piece. And I'm like, bro, you don't go to clubs. Again, you mid-40s now. You lost your house a couple years ago. And now I think you lost the apartment or something. They might have had to move in with this. So I'm just saying, I don't know what people are doing things and making moves for anymore, unless it is on for the gram. But
everybody can be famous now. The thing is, everybody has the potential to be famous now. If you post enough stuff, there's a chance you go viral and people in faraway places will know your name.
But it's wild. But it's wild, Robert, because he just want to be famous in our text message. Like,
yeah.
Put this shit on Instagram and I see it on there, and then you don't have to like make me think lesser of you because you shared this shit with me like it was something.
You know what my take on that is, honestly? like you said, he's lost a lot, and he's trying to make himself feel good about what he's lost. And this is like what he actually represents is he actually represents like the flipping of that 85 now. Like Grant just said with the host. It's like now we're just talking about it in terms of men. He's the manhole now because everything that he used to have, he don't have anymore. So it's like in order to make himself feel good, he's showing these small games and trying to go backwards. But we all know that you can't go back and you can't snatch time back and bring it forward. And this is what this world that we're living in right now is doing to a lot of generations. A lot of people like our age and a little bit older and a little bit younger and everything. A lot of them are really ready to check out because after their 20s and 30s, when they're supposed to get things, and really in your 40s, you're supposed to have a little bit more in life. And it's tough to look around and say, like, you don't have that. But in the meantime, you've never really been conditioned to think about it. It just pops up, for a lot of people. It just pops up because, you thought you were always going to have X, Y, or Z. You've been going out. You've been doing these things on routine, spending money. I was watching this brother on TV, on the internet today, and he was talking about the difference between, he was like, it was another podcast, and the guy was like, yo, these women, they want to have the $5,000 bags, and they're walking up. And I would rather have a brown paper bag with $5,000 holding it in, because then I know I'm building towards something. And it's this consumer mindset. And you have a consumer mindset even after you get things. It's hard to break away from the training of the consumer mindset. So you might have had a house at one point, but you never stopped to realize that praying for that house is the most important thing. Not having that house and now also trying to look good in it and go on vacations when I can't afford a vacation. Just getting that mortgage paid is what it is. I have a lot of experience in that with dealing with people. This doesn't come from personal experience. This comes from A, working as a mortgage banker, talking to people who had got themselves into these problems, and B, working as a realtor from doing a ton of short sales for people that got overextended in their personal lives. And I'm telling you, this is how it happens. And while it's happened, this is the whole YOLO. Problem is that we talk about it as Black people, but you have to realize that it's not just a Black people thing. This is like that whole YOLO thing is a United States of America thing. And all these things coming together, and you piece all these things together like we do in these conversations and these podcasts. And what you come up with is this insidious pie where only certain people understand what you're supposed to look for in a mate. And it ain't, and Flash, it ain't whether or not he takes me to Cheesecake Factory or not. Certain people know what to look for in a partner. Newsflash, it's not because he's cute and because he's got a lot of women, but because he's interested in the one woman that is me. There's all these like disconnects that other generations used to teach us that they're not being taught anymore. And what we're seeing is like basically the numbers go all over the place. So the 85s ain't the 85s anymore.
And, you talk about the consumer culture and everything. We've extended adolescence like damn near to the end of the 20s now. Like Saturday is for the boys, that kind of culture, that bro culture. So dudes they're not even folk careers till they're almost 30, mid 30s. Then they're turning around and going, oh shit, I better step on the gas now. I'm behind.
Right.
So it's distorted on both sides.
All the way.
That's a fact.
So that's what I'm getting. That's why I asked the question, like, what are people coming into the world to like, what am I going to be as an individual? And let me create, let me go through whatever steps and whatnot that I have to build it, that I have to go through to be that individual so I can be one half of this good team.
Well,
but you just have these fractured, like Robert just said, you just had these undeveloped people out here walking around and get with another undeveloped person, and they get together and destroy each other's lives. And then, like you said, they trying to put this shit back together in late 30s. And it's like, we can't, my hope would be as a community that like we would quit wasting from 18 or 20 to 35, 37. Like we need to quit wasting them 17 years defining ourselves.
Mhm.
But that just seems to be where we're stuck.
Well, the thing is, look, let me just say one thing. Like,
Okay.
this generation can't really understand the value of what you have, Wood, because they can't quantify it. There's no way to put that on Instagram where it actually like works for them on a daily basis. Or on like, you can't make that. You can't make it what it is. We've been on you like laughing and cracking up during the show, but it's like, it's out of respect, for the fact that you're able to make that work, and a lot of people don't want that work. It's too hard. Go ahead,
And
Rob.
also, I would say, one, how many of them have a role model in that regard? How many of them have
Oh.
seen two people make this thing work, fight through some really tough shit, come back out on the other side, dedicate all the energy to a project, the children, for a little bit, come out on the other side, and keep coming back to each other? How many of them have the role model? I didn't have that role model for sure.
Yeah.
And also, then you go to school, and once you get to school, it's you against the rest of the members of your class. You got 12 to 16 years of education, which they're telling you to do everything on your own. And now you get out into the real world, and like the real world, you need to collaborate with folks, but they ain't never really prepared you to collaborate with anybody, because you always had to take the test by yourself.
So this is
Right.
this is why I find so much of our culture, our current culture, current Black pop culture, however you want to phrase it. That's why I find so much of it really counterproductive and harmful. Because, and Robert, you just hit the nail on the head. With me getting to 20 years of marriage, like you said, I didn't have anybody to lead me any breadcrumbs of how to make that happen. I haven't had nobody to really, to talk through hard times with. I didn't see anybody else going through hard times and how they handled hard times. And so I guess like I've been isolated so much. Like I didn't grow up around any family. My mom's family from Detroit. Dad's family is from Pennsylvania, pretty much Harrisburg for the most part. So we're just here in the middle. So I never had a lot of interaction with uncles, cousins, and all of that type of stuff. I just been sitting here piecing together my world as I go. And so like I said, when I'm listening to all of this, I'm aware of it, what y'all are talking about. But it just seemed like we just don't have much of a focus on being decent, solid, good people individually. So like I said, when we go out here and get into these relationships are healthy. Healthy relationships can become marriages and whatnot, and then families, and have healthy families. We're just out here constantly trying to get it in.
Yeah, we're not really building relationships that are really beyond the physical point. There's no loyalty involved in it. There's none of the good stuff that actually makes a relationship full. And that's what we really have to work on. We have to work on things that we can't see. And showing the tangible qualities of that. And guess what, fellas? Our hour is up.
That's good, because I had an edible that's just starting to kick in. Timing is everything. Nutty buddies, man. Nutty buddies.
Timing is everything. From New Jersey, representing the armpit of America, Mr. Robert Brooks.
Talking.
From home of the players, Dayton, And who was that cat back in the day? Roosevelt Chapman, high flyer,
Oh yeah,
1980s. I'm running. Mr. Reggie Reg Wood. Thank you. And of course, from Detroit, home of the Amish Sanctuary and the best city wings in all of the city of Detroit, the City Wing King, home of City Wings.
2896 West Grand Boulevard, Detroit, Michigan. Come down and get you some, baby.
Come get you some. Mr. Grant Lancaster.
That's right.
As close as we get to a sponsorship, yeah, I wasn't born in trouble. That's why I bring up. So, fellas, man, anything you guys would like to add before we sign off?
Hey, I'll just throw it in there, man. Along with trying to hear some things to actually experience life, feelings, and emotions, and all of that. I just recommend brothers check out that new BJ the Chicago Kid album. Great,
Okay.
All right.
little soul music.
Mhm.
You got a music for
Soul music. Okay.
show is for the music lovers. There's a bunch of music lovers on the show, so we're gonna pick that one up. And yo, fellas, just about done. And I'm you know what, I'm just gonna say, I'm glad that we didn't have to talk about Israel, Gaza, Palestine, or the changing over of Israel that's going on right now. There's no need to talk about it. It's already been decided they're plowing Palestine over. One in trouble. See y'all next week. Peace. What, did I say something?
Hey,
Just
no,
the truth.
just wanted to finish my little story real quick. You know, I got those